Hello and thank you for joining us from the midweek edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozubaku. Today on the program, gunmen killed 2 traditional rulers, injured 3 others in Imo State. And later on the show, old boys brace up for 92nd anniversary of Government College Ibadan, insists on handover of the school to old boy students to stop decay due to years of neglect by government. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Mojid Jamiu. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Let's begin by telling you that government has been asked to change strategies aimed at containing the spread of COVID-19 pandemic and attaining herd immunity for citizens as the virus continues to expose the deficiencies in the Nigerian health system. Health experts gave the charge at a gathering in Lagos where they analyzed containment efforts by government and other challenges facing the sector. Abiola Sholanke tells us more.
It is the 60th birthday celebration of Dr. Eniola Enriosho and his retirement from the Lagos State Civil Service. Mr. Enriosho was the Director of Medical Services and Disease Control at the Lagos State Primary Healthcare Development Board before attaining the compulsory retirement age of 60. The 2-in-1 event gave health practitioners opportunity to pledge their commitment to achieving healthy living for citizens as well as improving primary health care in the state. It's about 2 years since the COVID-19 pandemic ravaged the world and claims millions of lives. Experts gathered here analyzed efforts aimed at containing the virus.
The mainstay of the response now is the vaccination. You know, we have done disease surveillance. We have done social distancing, people using face masks and all that, and we are still advocating that. And we have also mentioned hand washing. But the one that is very key, that is crucial, and that is very effective now is the COVID-19 vaccination. And the government has done a lot, the federal and the state, to ensure that we have a vaccine.
About HIV/AIDS until they were almost tired of hearing it. We have not mobilized enough of the communities to know that these precautions are very important. You see me wearing my face mask as well as a face shield because this is a large population and I'm 71. But I see some elderly people going around in parties, no face mask, even ordinary hand washing. If Nigerians are doing it right.
On the 15th of October, the federal government announced that civil servants will require proof of COVID-19 vaccination or negative PCR test before they being allowed to work. Hence, stakeholders share their views on the issue.
You are dealing with the public and you are representing the government. And the government is advocating that we should give this vaccine. And we know the vaccine is effective. So as civil servants, we are supposed to be laying good examples to the general public. That is why I'm 100% in support of that policy. And I don't believe there's any civil servant that will go against it.
There's a lot of disinformation and negative information being put about in the public space. And I think people, both by the example they set in their personal lives and the advocacy that they do on behalf of the system, should encourage the generality of the public to get vaccinated. And if you do not get vaccinated yourself, then you cannot set an example.
It is hoped that as the country intensifies vaccination drive, coupled with arrival of more vaccines, more people will get vaccinated so that Nigeria can rapidly progress towards attaining herd immunity. Abiola Sholanke, TVC News, Lagos.
They're talking about the containment strategy there, and we are government advised on, to change the containment strategy for COVID-19, and a lot of state governors, starting from Edo State, Ondo State, Kaduna State, they've been telling the civil servants that, look, even federal government saying by the 1st of December, if you don't have your vaccination, you won't be allowed into your offices.
Yes, but the best approach is still to appeal to people. That is even what the WHO recommends. The WHO has not recommended force as a means of sensitizing people on the hazards of this virus. There is no reason to force people. We have not even reached that level in our country where
because we don't have enough. We don't have enough.
Not enough vaccines to go around. And when we say everyone should go and do the test, it's too expensive to do the test for many of our people. Those who can afford it,
Lagos
say, look, it's not a problem. How many people can afford that? So it's still persuasion, and I still believe that the best way to address this is to follow those biosafety measures that have been put in place. When you're in a public place, keep yourself protected, wash your hands at all times. They are still the cheapest and most effective means. There is no way we can achieve even 100% vaccination, even if we wanted it. We are not going to achieve that. So let's stick to, let's sensitize the people a lot more on how to keep themselves safe. That was what that woman was saying, that she saw the 71-year-old woman. She said she saw people who are above 70s not protected in any way. That, in my view, should be the strategy. The sensitization should be on protecting ourselves more.
Mujit?
Yeah, we don't have enough vaccines to go around, and all the vaccines we have cumulatively in the country, most of 90% of which are from donations from UK and US. Let's combined both AstraZeneca and Moderna. They are less than 10 million units of both doses of the vaccine. So, and when you talk about testing too, it's only those who are traveling or those who have a critical need for it. I mean, and those who can afford it that are going for testing. Community testing, unlike when it first started, has been jettisoned by government, because you can't blame government too. It's quite expensive to undergo this thing. But then primary health care is one of the key items that the government should take seriously, because most people cannot afford the 50,400 for the PCR test, except you are traveling and you must have your ways and means before you want to travel outside of the country, before you want to willingly go for testing.
50K PCR test.
Yeah, 50,400. Then for those...
When you return, the same thing.
Except those who are critically ill and they needed to be sure
evacuated.
They needed to be evacuated, or they needed to be sure what is the cause or the source of ailment before diagnosis. So that's those who, I mean, and even at that, you have to pay for it.
Okay. So now, it's the season of awards in Nigeria, as the Sun newspaper decided to honor 24 outstanding Nigerians for distinguishing themselves in their various fields despite the COVID-19 pandemic that ravaged the world in 2020. Top on the list of Nigerians honored with various awards on the night in Lagos were Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State as the Man of the Year, Abdullahi Ganduje of Kano State as the Governor of the Year, as well as star actor Kanayo Okanayo as Nollywood icon. Others are Director General of the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, Brigadier General Shoaibu Ibrahim for Public Service, Chairman of Slot Systems, Nnamdi Ezigbo as Entrepreneur of the Year and the Chairman of Air Peace, Allen Oyema, as Exceptional Philanthropist of the Year. Let's share the highlights with you.
Brigadier General Shoaibu Ibrahim.
Brigadier General Shoaibu Ibrahim is the winner of this award, Public Service 2020. Congratulations, General.
The courage, the strength to do the things myself and my wife do. Afterward, we continue to do our best to make Kano an international capital. It is already the capital of the northern part of this Nigeria, the commercial nerve center of some West African countries, a historic city for more than 1,000 years ago in the map of the world. That's why we are peaceful. Our forest with technology, no banditry, no armed robbery.
Gentlemen, that's Governor Ganduje.
Yes.
The DG of NYC, our Chief Allen Oyema, the owner of Airpeace.
You see, all of those people, including the man, the founder of Slot, everyone knows the role that Slot has played in business in our country, especially the telecoms business, you know. He's a very big player, and for a Nigerian to be playing that big, it's a thing of pride for us. And the Airpeace man has shown himself to be a patriot, no doubt about it. You know, electing to fly Nigerians back home during the time of adversity in South Africa, you know, and look at him preaching to Super Eagles on one of those trips. That look, let us stick with our country. Stick with our country. You know, he does not run down his country. He believes that only the best is good for our country. So, you look at the NYC DG. He's done so well within the short time. You know, he's a historian like me. I'm proud of him. He's a historian. And then Governor Ganduje, some people may not like his methods. But he's getting results. He's doing his best. So all of them, Kanayo, King Gibe, all of the people honored, the son did a good job of giving honor to a good number of Nigerians that deserve to be honored.
Yeah, I would have loved to see also the likes of Innocent Motors and the award series. And also, I think I saw the awards to the sports minister,
Sunday
Dare, and also your state governor also got an award, Jide.
Governor
Yaya Bello. I mean, that of Allen Oyema actually. Actually struck me as I mean, an award well deserved, especially even during the pandemic. I mean, he offered his the services of his airline, Airpeace, to bring Nigerians back from UK, South Africa, and the US. So he has really done well, and I mean, I think they recently opened another route, I think, in Anambra State. So it's really...
He's the market leader now.
He has really done.
All right.
The award lasted up till like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
So many people were honored on the day.
It's not Sun Man of the Year, Sun newspaper. Rather than abating, the security situation in the southeast is becoming more worrisome. On Tuesday, gunmen stormed the venue of a meeting of traditional rulers at the headquarters in Njaba Local Government area of Imo State and opened fire on monarchs. 2 traditional rulers died on the spot, while 3 are said to be in coma after sustaining injuries. When will this be enough? I don't know. The southeast is turning into another thing. No respect for that institution, and how can traditional rulers be holding meetings and whatever you want? Because now it's not even looking like people are fighting for the freedom, for the emancipation of the Igbo people again. It's as if there are some people that are bent in, discrediting the whole struggle.
It's difficult to explain what has happened, you know. When people start killing Igbos, the way they are doing, then it makes nonsense of the whole effort to draw attention to marginalization, because you can't in one breath be drawing attention to marginalization while in another killing your own people. Killing your own people. That is completely against the grain. And that's why we are saying that, look, whatever it takes, efforts must be made to put an end to these killings. Who is that investor who will feel comfortable to go to the southeast to set up shop? Who? Where opening your shop on a Monday can cost you your life? You know what I was told was that even in a few of the communities where traders want to defy them, traders will bring security people to provide security for them and open their shops. By the time those security men close, when they leave at the close of work, they go and wait for those traders and kill them. So we are facing a potentially very terrible situation, because if this thing is not addressed, and that's why I'm praying and hoping that reason will prevail tomorrow, the DSS, the Attorney General's office will bring Kanu to court. That is the sensible thing to do. These guys are issuing threats that if they don't bring Kanu to court, that they are going to impose 30 days sit at home. No one should give them a reason to take this kind of action that will inflict pains on our people. You want to put a man on trial, bring him, let him face that trial that you said you wanted him to face. The whole essence of bringing him all the way from Kenya or wherever was for him to face trial. Now, why wouldn't you bring him out and let him face trial? You cannot lock him up somewhere, and then when the judge needs to see him, we then get told stories that okay, for logistics or whatever reason, he can't be brought to court. Kanu and his supporters are not bigger than the Nigerian state. The Nigerian state has enough security to provide cover for not just litigants, but for judges and even journalists who will want to attend the trial tomorrow. Kanu has to be brought to court. He has to be brought to court. The lies flying around that is dead, this and that, that is fueling some of this violence, we need to address that, the rumor mongering, by letting him keep his date in court. This whole thing, as I was saying that time, that look, Anambra, for a long time, Anambra was peaceful. Long time. When they were talking about declaring a state of emergency, I said states like Imo and Ebonyi were worse. This is what we are saying. This one happened in Imo State. This is the state where the governor's house was set ablaze. So there is a reign of terror by unidentified gunmen running riot in the southeast. Every step must be taken to bring this whole confusion to an end, so that our people can live in peace, go to work peacefully, go to school peacefully, for banks to open, so that businesses can blossom. Under this situation where we are killing traditional rulers just because they are meeting, we don't know what they are meeting over, but it's just a means of sowing the seed of fear in our people. I mean, it has to end. These killings are needless, and it has to end.
It's no longer reasonable. It's no longer logical. It's no longer, because if these unknown gunmen were to be attacking outsiders, do you understand, or attacking security and everything the way they were doing before, now attacking the best of their people.
They are killing the best of their brains. I mean, the dust is yet to settle on the death of Professor Akinyuli's, last week, and last month, and now this is happening. Although that happened in Anambra, in a dastardly act, and look at the way traditional rulers were also butchered. And I heard that they were actually discussing on how to bring peace to the southeast. I mean, especially following closely on the heels of the meeting of the clerics from the southeast, which held about 2 weeks ago. I mean, the traditional rulers also met to see how they could appeal to the younger generation so that to allow peace to reign in the southeast, and this happened. It's really, really bad, not just for business, even for the cause for which they are fighting for, honestly. If you continue to kill your leaders, I mean, so what happens to that kind of as a society? It means that life does not really matter to them again. And I think it's high time all of them sat down and actually look at a way of bringing an end to this. And I mean, they should identify those behind these senseless killings. Because to me, why would you go and kill traditional rulers where they were holding a meeting? Several others were injured. It's very unfortunate, very, very unfortunate, and I think it should the defendant should be arrested.
Ima is calling us from Owerri. Thank you for joining us, Ima.
Friends and brothers, it's been a while.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Remember when I called you during the first...
Yes, I remember Ima now.
Yeah. It's a very sad commentary and development. For some reasons, I was watching the other day, saw a friend and a brother I knew so well, wriggling on the pool of his blood. I'm talking about the Akunyeles.
Yes.
And looking at the product from that man, how the children, whom I know very well, will be viewing their dad in that public display of cruelty, and watching him die in that inhuman. I'm sure by now, with these NSAS and whatever, that man would have been forgotten. He left for his family to mourn. Now they have shifted to Owerri. I'm sure everybody will be denying his iPod, it's not iPod, it's government agency. But we warned when this thing started, when a group of young men from abroad, in parentheses, we are endangering their region. People I may describe as illiterates. You see, sometimes when government said avoid demonstration, it's not because of the fact they are trying to fight. They are looking at this thing being hijacked. I once told you that this thing has been hijacked, and you guys doubted me. Even airport themselves are confused. We are living in Owerri now. I don't know. Throughout this week, most schools have taken break. Monday, sit at home. Tuesday,
public holiday.
Which one happened on Tuesday? Yes.
Public holiday.
Today, NSAS. Friday. I mean, tomorrow, Nnenasa is going to court, so there won't be any movement. And these things continue like this. The leaders can't talk because they're already fulefus or intellectuals. This is a very big problem. I had a friend telling me they're not coming back for Christmas. They're cancelling their trip. They're not staying here. And kudos to Governor Wike, who warned that he doesn't want this nonsense. Go to Rivers. That's live there. He doesn't want this rubbish. From the beginning, this is a monster that is consuming the whole region. He's consuming the whole region. He warned that he doesn't want this nonsense.
Ima, thank you.
Watching one recently, coming from whether South Africa or something. What do you do that he sells Weavon? Imagine Weavon sellers and taxi drivers controlling professors, intellectuals. My brother, I'm doing my PhD. And a hair seller is controlling me. I've been lying down now for the past 3 days, doing nothing.
Ima, thank you.
Here.
Thank you for your regular updates, Ima. Thank you.
It just underlines the pain that people are going through, and every time I think of the possibility of the imposition of 30 days sit at home.
I think the fear factor, Judy, that is, these guys have instilled in people. Because it's fast losing popularity, as in the way they are going about it, a lot of people, the billions are losing in terms of business, in terms of everything. Okay, tomorrow now, the whole Southeast will be grounded.
The truth is, The truth is, young people, a lot of young people are behind this cause.
Because they are jobless.
A lot of them are jobless,
unemployed,
brainwashed. Brainwashed. They never saw the war, the last war. And you know, history has been relegated in our country, even taken out of school curriculum, to the point that we can't even teach people what transpired at that time. There is a huge army of young people who are sold on the ideas that Nnamdi Kanu came up with. Let's not deceive ourselves. There are so many people who believe in that man. Let's not deceive ourselves.
Very popular.
And not just people over there who are sending money and all that to oil the struggle. Many people resident in our country. Look, even when you're on social media, you will see some of the negativities that people come up with.
One Senator Mba went to go and campaign in Anambra, Abi in Alaba.
Yes. They were stoning him now.
They were shouting.
So does that look like a cause that is not popular? Let's not deceive ourselves. A lot of these young people, that's what he's saying. He said, look at people who are educated people are now the one
controlled by taxi drivers.
They have changed the narrative and making people believe in that cause. And some of it also not helped by the way the Igbos perceive themselves within the Nigerian Federation. They see themselves as marginalized. Nigeria has not done enough to address some of those issues.
Reintegration.
We have said, okay, there should even be a conversation on the Southeast. Remember what that man said last week, that since 1999, the East has not produced even a vice president.
Prince.
He said so. And I asked myself, when I got to myself, that thing is true. 1999 to this night is a long time.
21 years.
Yeah. So let sensible people within our country do whatever it takes to put an end to these killings. We can't afford to have one part of our country in constant turmoil. We want peace. We have friends in the Southeast. We love the people of the Southeast, and we want peace in that region. Whichever steps we can take to bring peace, we have to take it. Nobody knows who will be the next victim. That's the nature of war.
Emma mentioned the fact that Monday was sit at home in the whole of the Southeast. Tuesday, public holiday. That's yesterday. Today is census. Tomorrow is another sit at home. Because Kanu is going to court, we don't know what will happen on Friday.
Paralyzed commercial.
So a whole week gone. And the PhD holder can't even pursue his studies.
All right. We'll take this break. When we come back, we'll discuss more. Stay with us. Established on the 28th of February 1929, the Government College Ibadan has seen better days and produced proud products as the Old Boys Association, formed in 1934, braces up for the 92nd anniversary celebration of GCI. They insist that the school should be handed over to them to stop decay occasioned by years of neglect by governments. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde is expected to inaugurate some projects executed by some old boys as part of the celebration. But 87 years after establishment of the Old Boys Association, they have come with a revolutionary idea to restore the lost glory of GCI, that's Government College Ibadan. Jide, what's up with GCI? The other time on our Sunday special, we actually showed you how fine the landscape of the school, you know, and the school used to be a very, very, standard school. Well, all of a sudden, years and years, you can see from these wonderful, beautiful drone shots in the 80s, in the 70s. What's the school?
The school at one point used to be the best in West Africa.
Oh boy.
And that's in the 60s and 70s.
Look at it.
But the standard has gone down tremendously, and it's no longer one of the best in West Africa, not even numbered among the best in West Africa anymore. The school produced, let me run through some of their most prominent old boys. Professor Wole Soyinka, the late Lekan Are, the legendary author Cyprian Ekwensi, former governor of Oyo State, Omololu Loyo, Adegoke Adelabu, the original Kelemes, Professor Olu Akinkugbe, Bisade Ologunde Lagbaja, Wale Babalakinsan, the current Minister of Health, Ehanire, Omonoba Erediawa, the late Oba Obini, Professor Femi Oshofison, the late Ebeg Ubadia, ex-INEC chairman. These are some of the old boys of the school. You know, like most of the iconic schools, iconic old schools, what you see at GCI is evidence of decaying infrastructure. The old students have tried their best to make some contributions, like building a new main library, refurbishing many buildings, and refurbishing the 2 main hostels at a cost of more than 300 million. They also rebuilt the principal's house, lecture theater, laboratories, clinics. Basically, anything new that you see on campus is either the old students who built it by themselves or secured sponsors to put those structures there. In fact, one information I got was that the old students are even recruiting and paying teachers as we speak. They are contributing to pay teachers. They are recruiting and paying teachers. I thought it was in my village alone that is a problem. No teachers. You will find a teacher being made to teach like 4 different subjects. That's in my rustic village, or as rustic as Igbemo in Ekiti State. But the truth is, this is Ibadan, state capital, largest city in West Africa, an urban center, and one of the most notable schools in our country's history, facing a problem in which they now have to, whole students now have to recruit teachers and pay those teachers. It shows that things have really degenerated. And right now, as tomorrow they are flagging up the celebrations of their 92nd anniversary, you know, and 87th year of the alumni association of the school. They are interested in taking some big measures. They're saying, look,
they want to take over.
We can't watch this school. We have wept over this school. We saw buildings that had decayed. Some of us burst into tears. We want to take a bigger role in fixing this school.
What is wrong with that?
No? I really do not think it's a bad idea, given that they have done so much. So if you are saying we have the capacity, you know, a lot of these schools, you can imagine all students of King's College, if they were to come together, they can raise billions. That King's College. So this is the thing. They can't watch their school get worse, and they are saying, look, give us a bigger role. We want to take play a bigger role in the running of the school, not just simply coming to fix it, running of the school, and even enrollment.
Mujid, you've been in government, so you know what this is all about, as in terms of, can you just come, as in, is it possible for the Oyo State government to grant them that request?
Yes, it's possible, but then it's not just a straight, it's not a straight jacket thing like that. I know in Ekiti State, some schools were returned to the owners sometime between 2012 and 2014, but then it requires some provisions of the State Assembly to be
okay.
Yeah, because I mean the governor can't just decide.
Okay, there'll be a legislation to that effect.
There has to be a legislation.
Okay.
Because in terms of what you give to how the teachers are handled, I mean, then the old students, for example, too, we have to come out with like a trustee. I mean, that will be managing such schools. So it's not just something that can happen like that. But then I think it all boils, the decay in the educational sector boils down to the budgetary allocation. Look at the budgetary allocation of Ghana to education. It's higher than our defense, education, and health budgets combined for a population that is less than 30 million.
Yes, a lot of the smaller countries, their budgets are bigger than
Nigerian budgets. The budget for education in Ghana, you can
bigger than our budget.
The budget of education in Ghana is bigger than the budget of Ministry of Defense, Education, Agric, and Water Resources in Nigeria put together. So why won't Nigerians migrate to Ghana for educational purposes? Why wouldn't they have better quality education? Yeah, so that is why. I mean, we might be laughing, but then it's a sad reality. We need to pay more attention to our educational sector, or rather, we'll be telling stories of a decay of infrastructure.
All right, joining us for more discussion on this is the International Vice President of GCI, Old Boys Association, Tola Obembe, who is a 1979 set of the school. Wow. Thank you for joining us.
Okay. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Okay.
Also joining us for more insights on this is Seun Abimbola SAN, another international vice president of GCI Old Boys Association. Abimbola is a former Attorney General for your state and 1981 set of the school. 1979 and 1981 set of the school. 42 years and 38 years ago. Thank you for joining us. Now, what exactly do the old boys of Gunmen College Ibadan, what do they want?
Obembe.
That's Mr. Obembe.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm actually 78 sets, not 79. GCI Old Boys, as you have rightly said, we've contributed so much to the infrastructure of the school. Unfortunately, the country itself is decayed. You know, I was reviewing a news item recently where the infrastructure deficit of Nigeria was tagged at 30 trillion or something like that. We've spent so much money putting the infrastructure together because government had failed. Successive government, not just this government. In fairness, this current administration, we can see some hands. They've just given us 103 teachers. It's true that we were actually, Old Boys had to put a pause together to pay for teachers. So we recruited teachers when we realized things were not going well with education. So it's not just the infrastructure that we've spent money on. We've also spent money on soft skills and for the students. Now, we now realize that as much as we're spending, which I can say in the last, since this executive, which is about 3 years, we spent over $1 billion just putting things right. We are not getting commensurate results in the lives of these students, not in our lives, not in the lives of the old boys. Because like I say, I mean, I was in a meeting with the PS today, and I said, listen, 95% of GCI old boys don't have children or wards in that school. So everything we are doing, we are giving back to the society what the society had placed in us. Everything we are putting in this school, we are not getting results. And that is a problem. That is why we are saying, hey, let us have a hand in the management of this school.
Seun Abimbola, SAN, what exactly do the old boys of Gunmen College Ibadan want?
Thank you very much. I think the first Vice President, Tola Obembe, has just given the summary of what our demands are. And it's not so much a demand, it's based on the justifications that we have already submitted to government. Yes, we have set up an education foundation over the last few years.
Good.
We have set up endowments, we have funds that we have already amassed in that foundation account towards a situation when the old boys will have direct operational and management control of the school. Annually, as earlier stated, annually old boys class sets will be investing 50, 100 million every year on infrastructure. And in some years, like 2020, it almost was almost like 500 million if you consider that two hostels that were rebuilt alone would cost 300 million. And this is an annual ritual that the old boys do from year to year, apart from the monthly payment of teachers' salaries, apart from running costs of different ventures, and also sourcing for support from various institutions and agencies across. And so we realize that if you continue investing in infrastructure and you don't have control, you don't have management opportunity to get involved in how things are run, then it's just like pouring water into a basket. Because eventually you set up the infrastructure, you cannot dictate the kind of capacity that you need in the teaching staff. You can't dictate the kind of capacity that you need to move to the next set. It's all going to be based on decisions that are taken outside of those sustaining why you exist in the first place. And it seems like infrastructure gets decayed every year. And that's why we ask government that, look, we recognize that there's a lot. Your state has over 600 secondary schools. With all the teachers and teaching staff and other non-academic staff being funded by the state. Let's take this off you. We have capacity, put in place the kind of structure, put a criteria in place. We are ready to meet the standard and we will excel. You just look at the school within the next 5 years and then you will see the kind of standard that the GCI old boys would have brought into the management of the school. Even now, the governor confessed the last time he visited the school that there is no school in Oyo State with the architecture of the campus that Government College has. And that's simply because of the involvement of the old boys. There is no building on that school. There is no infrastructure in that school that was not put there by the old boys.
Wow.
The last time physical development came from any government, I can't remember. And so, if we have contributed that much, I think it's only wise for you to say, look, these people have invested, and like my vice president said, most of us don't have children in the school. So it's all purely humanitarian.
Yeah. Nice one. Now, Mr. Tola Obimbe, you want to get involved in the running of the school. Is this the position of the generality of the alumni of the school? Can this really work?
Oh, definitely.
Can you tell us how it will work?
No, we, like the Vice President too, Sheung Abimbola mentioned, we had, as far back as 70s, we had set up funds to support the school. Now, the Old Boys Association, we now have an educational foundation amassing funds to support the school. What we offered or presented to the state government is a template that is workable, not necessarily for us only. What we're saying, and which is been done somewhere else. So if you know about the time Government College Ibadan was started, there were two other government colleges, Umaya and Ugeli. Government College Umaya has actually been given back to the old boys to run. And funny enough, we started this race well before them, but you know, Oyo State is the pace setter. Unfortunately, that wise, we couldn't set the pace. We are saying we will set up a trust involving old boys and government. The trust will run the school. That's how it happens everywhere. Eaton College is run by a trust. That's what we've said. And we will fund everything. Of course, it's government college. They're not going to change the name. So we have a template. An educational trust will run the school for the society. And old boys will fund it. And we've been at it how many years now? In fact, before I left GCI, and Sheung said something that the last government structure, whatever they did in GCI, I'll remind him. I don't know whether when GCI celebrated 50th anniversary, government had the road. That's 52 years ago. Okay. Sorry, 42 years ago.
42 years ago. For sure,
That was the last.
you are a senior advocate of Nigeria. Have you gone through all the legal hurdles?
Are there legal impediments?
Yes, the hurdles.
Well, there are.
Do you think the government? Do you think the government of Oyo State will buy this idea, even though it's worked somewhere in Abia State? Do you think the current government is disposed to buying this idea?
And will there be legislative issues that needed to be addressed moving forward?
Well, we anticipated a number of blowbacks, which some are not necessarily based on empirical considerations. Some are just based on other considerations. But the template that we presented to the government is a template that can be replicated. And the last administration was when we kickstarted this process actively again, to present to the government that, look, we can take back this school and we can run it. Now, we are not asking for title documents to property and stuff like that. We are asking for management and operational authority, because that's really what determines how you put in place. You still submit your curriculum through Ministry of Education, you still do all of that, but we can set our standards based on what we feel is appropriate for a school.
Well, that's shown Abimbola SAN and Tola Obimbe. I just imagine if this kind of passion that we could all go back to our schools and give back the way these guys
are doing. No,
they are talking about 300 million naira,
500 million,
500 million
in 1 year.
No, you can see those.
When they build those
you can
hostels,
see those structures. I mean,
when they build those hostels, 500 million minimum, because each of the hostels cost about 300 million.
Yeah.
So I'm amazed and at the same time terribly impressed by what the GCI old boys have done. And I recommend this to old boys across our country, because look, there was a video that I saw of one school in the Northeast. I don't want to mention the state. It was terrible. So if some of us return to our old schools, we will shed tears. Now, we cannot afford to forget those schools, because those schools played a big part in shaping our lives.
Yeah.
We must remember those schools and give back to those schools.
Yeah.
You know?
So let me just finally, Mr. Tola Obimbe, your final message as the Old Boys Association will be clocking, is it 87?
92.
92.
82, Old Boys 87. Old Boys Association 87.
87, yes.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Your last message.
My message is to the government of Oyo State is we've been partnering together. We will continue to be your partners. Let's look at these things actively. It's for the benefit of our future as a people. Education, we all know where we are. There's no point regurgitating the dismal situation in Nigeria. But the least we can do as old boys is what we are trying to do. Let's partner, let's take. You know, Oyo State, Ibadan was the education capital of Nigeria, of West Africa. Go and check most of the institutes in Ibadan. NCRI, CREAM, all of them, IITA, Nnenasa, everything is in
We have to leave it there. Let's go to your final take, Mr. Seun Abimbola.
Yes, I think that, like I said, it's a partnership. Even if there are legal considerations, we are willing to sit and iron them out with government in a way that once we develop this template to a final picture, the government will own it and can also take it to other old boys.
Okay,
associations.
I want to thank you, Mr. Tola Obimbe and Mr. Seun Abimbola SAN, Old Boys Association, Government College, Ibadan. Julie, Oyo State government, they have 600 schools. So giving old boys giving
chance to manage the school.
I
don't think it's a bad idea.
599.
But we definitely will stay on this matter. We want to know how it ends up. So we will show more than the passing interest on this matter. And at any time, we will be free to call Mr. Obembe and other leaders of the old boys. I'm proud of what you have done.
That's nice. And thumb up, guys.
We'll support you all the way.
It's becoming increasingly difficult for governments at the subnational to fund secondary education. Because, I mean,
there were not many schools like this in those days.
No, that's it. Moji Jami, I want to thank you. Babajide Kolade Otitojo, I want to thank you too for your contribution.